Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 52 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about my mindset I had when I bought my first single family home back in 2017. So believe it or not, back in 2017, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't watch podcasts. I didn't know about bigger pockets. My parents don't invest in real estate. My family doesn't invest in real estate. My friends don't invest in real estate. All I knew was that I just wanted to buy a house for myself to live in because I was living at home at the time. So, and when I was living at home, I helped my mom just like post rooms for rent on Craigslist. And then I just would put the ad for her and they would call my mom's cell phone number and then she would talk to them, screen them, and do all that stuff. So I didn't really know much. I just knew how to like rent out a room and advertise a room. And I didn't know about house hacking. I didn't know about rent by the room. I didn't know all these fancy things today, right? Like I said, all I knew was I wanted a house. I just finished paying off my student loans from pharmacy school, paid off 250K. I was living at home. And because I was able to live at home, I was able to save money to pay off student debt and to save it for my first down payment. So I just thought, well, I just want to live in a house. I want to leave the nest at 27 years old. And that's what I did. So I remember when I first looked at properties, I looked in, Milpitas, San Jose area where I grew up, and things were too expensive. It was $1 million. I was out of my price range. So I looked at the city over, which is Fremont. Fremont's more expensive. So I looked in San Jose. San Jose is too expensive. I looked in, Pleasanton, which is right next door, too expensive. Dublin, too expensive. And I came across Livermore. And I remember looking in Livermore, and every weekend I just would go to open houses, and I would bring like my mom and dad with me. So my dad was just telling me like, why do you want to buy a house? Like, just live at home. You're comfortable. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about rent. You don't have to worry about mortgage. You don't have to worry about repairs. You just can live at home. You don't have to cook. It's very stress free. And my mom was like, well, yeah, you should buy a house because it's a good investment. And you could like rent out the rooms. You could, own real estate and then start to like, plan for your life. So my mom was more ambitious, more entrepreneurial. My dad was more conservative and just wanted me to live at home. For me, I wanted to like have my own place to live because you can live at home for so long, right? And wanted to like branch out my wings and just really want a place for me to live. And I didn't want to pay rent at the time, so that was kind of the mindset that was instilled upon me. So I would go to open houses every weekend, and I remember I went to 5 open houses in Livermore. Would see houses, see how they look, see how the prices were, kind of understand the areas. I would drive around the city to see what it looks like, and to know the areas, to know the pockets, know the schools. And I remember I went to a few open houses, and then I started looking in Concord, which is further east in the Bay Area, and it's cheaper there. But I just kept on going more east to see what was more affordable in my price range. So eventually decided on Livermore because it was a good middle ground. Like it was only about 30 minutes away from where I grew up. It was a growing area. A mall was being built there. The BART was potentially expanding down there. Safe area. I remember the house looked really nice near downtown Livermore. And it was just a growing area. And they were building a lot of homes, across the freeway, the 580 freeway there. So I just saw the potential. I liked the area, and they had a Costco there. They had a 24-hour fitness. That was my requirement. So I liked it. I really liked it, and Dublin had like Asian food. So I always got to be near my Asian food. So it was a good, I think, a good mix. So ended up making an offer on the house. Bought it during October, November, which is when the market's slower. Bought it for asking price on Redfin for 825K. I put 10% down and I closed on the property. And like I said, I didn't really think too much about it. I didn't really negotiate. I had a realtor that my mom referred me to and asked the realtor to kick me back 1% of the commission. So it ended up being, $8,000, which I got kicked back. And I didn't really think much of it. I like I said, I didn't know nothing about podcasts. I had no intention of like buying another property. I thought this was my forever home, and I thought that I just would live in the master, rent out 3 bedrooms for now. But once I had kids, once I had family, I would kick them all out and then just live in the house myself. And thought this was my forever home. But I ended up getting a job in San Francisco, and that commute was way too long. So I ended up buying another house hack in San Francisco. And ended up renting out that last property. So now I became an accidental landlord. So, and then from there, once I did that, I was like, oh wow, like this is actually scalable, right? Like I could buy a property every year and a half to 2 years, for 10% down, live in the master bedroom, rent out the rooms, and then continue to do this every like two years once I set that the down payment. So that was kind of my plan, right? But at that point, I got more advanced, wanted to invest out of state to get more cash flow, then dive into apartment complexes, mobile home parks. Fast forward today, I own 52 units of real estate. And I started in 2019. After I bought my second property, that's when I discovered Bigger Pockets. That's when I discovered like podcasts. That's when I discovered YouTube as in terms of like educational content. Like all I knew YouTube was for music and for like learning how to dress because I was trying to learn how to dress as a guy to get girls, right? Sadly, right? I didn't know about YouTube for education, for financial education, for real estate education. I consume a lot of podcasts today. I watch a lot of YouTube videos about real estate. I create my own content for YouTube. But from 2017, I only knew about it like during end of 2019 when COVID started. Really, I really didn't know much. I owned two single family homes without watching a single piece of content about real estate. I just took action and just kind of figured it out along the way. Like I said, I never knew I never had the goal in 2017 to get to like 10K a month or 20K a month to retire early. I didn't know anything about the fire community. I didn't know any of that. I just wanted a house for me to live in, didn't want to pay rent, and I was willing to rent out the rooms until I had my family in that house. And then I ended up getting a job somewhere else and then bought another house. And I was like, at that point, it kind of lit the light bulb in my mind that, hey, I could buy more real estate. I could retire from real estate. And that's when I started learning about the fire community, about buying out of state rentals, about multifamily real estate. And that's when I started consuming more content. So, like I said, my parents didn't know much about real estate. They just owned a home themselves. My dad owned one rental property, which he ended up moving in after my parents got divorced. And like I said, my dad told me to not buy real estate, and my mom told me to buy real estate. So like literally, one parent was like, "Yes, buy." The other parent was like, "No, don't buy. It's risky." So like I just didn't listen to my dad, listen to my mom, and bought real estate, and that led me down this whole rabbit hole of becoming a real estate investor and scaling to 52 units today. But like I said, my mom, even though she was telling me to do it, she didn't know much about real estate. She just knew buying real estate was good and you want to buy a new home. That's all she knew. She didn't know about investing out of state, house hacking, rent by the room, creative financing. I didn't know any of this, right? Go off market with direct mail, cold call. I literally just went on Redfin and go to open houses every weekend and made offers at asking price. That's it. I didn't do anything fancy, right? And then in hindsight, it's 2020, where the offer at asking price in 2017 for 800K, it's now worth $1.4 million. And I did nothing special. So why I share all this is just because you see me today with 52 units of all these credit financing, direct mail, out of state. Like I didn't start there. I started with nothing. Like I know a lot of people, they own real estate today, and it's because their family does it. Like I have a bunch of students where their family owns like 5 rentals, and then they're trying to scale. I have a student where their family owns 90 rentals, and they're trying to buy their first apartment complex. I have students where their grandparents help them, teach them about real estate, help them get qualified for loans as a student, and lend them money to buy real estate. They had no student debt. I didn't have any of that, right? I didn't get money from my parents. I had 250K student debt. I paid that off myself by living frugally. I didn't know anything about like real estate. I just like my aunt was a loan officer, but like I didn't really know much. I just would be like, hey, like, do I qualify for a loan? Like, how much loan could I qualify for? And they told me 800K, which is why I target 800K homes. That's all. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know anything about building a credit score. Luckily, I did have a good credit score. Luckily, I had a good debt to income ratio, but I didn't know anything about that. And if you don't know anything about that, just talk to a loan officer. They'll tell you what your credit score is. You can go on Experian, or a lot of banking apps tell you your credit score. You can talk to a loan officer. They'll calculate your debt to income ratio for you, right? ChatGPT can probably tell you your debt to income ratio. But I didn't know anything. I just took action. I just took consistent action. I just made offers on, I think I made 5 offers on properties. 4 were rejected, 1 was accepted. I offered asking price. I did that for my first 4 properties. I literally, my San Francisco property, I offered asking price. I made 5 offers, got one accepted. My property in Orange County, I offered asking price. Like, I bought a new construction, I offered asking price. Like, my first 4 properties, I offered asking price. This property I'm living in, offered asking price. So, the real magic in real estate is when you hold it long term, and over time it'll appreciate. And I had crazy appreciation during COVID, slowed down the past like 2-3 years, but I did nothing. I just took action, bought it, and lived frugally. That's it. Right? That's all I did. Like, I didn't. My parents don't know about real estate. My dad doesn't even know I own a bunch of real estate today because he it's too stressful for him. Like, he doesn't even know I own real estate. Like, he knows I own single family homes in California, but he doesn't know I own anything out of state. So like, that's where I came from. So like, if you have an advantage over me of maybe your family does real estate, or maybe your parents have money that they can give you money to like invest or invest with you, right? I didn't have any of that, and I still scaled to 52 units, $6 million net worth, right? It is possible, right? I see a bunch of kids today where they come from rich families, but they're not willing to learn, they're not willing to put in the work. They're just having fun living life, spending money, flexing that they're rich, but it's all spending mommy and daddy's money, right? Like, I know people where they take home $5,000 a month, and their parents pay for their mortgage, bought their house for them, cover their bought their car for them, pay for everything, and whatever money they make, that $5,000, it's just their spending money to do whatever they want. They don't have to worry about the mortgage. They don't have to worry about buying a house. They don't worry about anything because their parents pay for it, right? That's old money. Rich spoiled kids, right? I didn't come from that, right? Like, I'm fortunate enough where my parents didn't ask me for money. I know a lot of pharmacists where they come out of pharmacy school and they have to support their parents because their parents don't work, or they make very little money, or they work minimum wage. Luckily, my parents are self-sufficient. Like, my mom passed away, but she had a pension. My dad has a pension. Um, so I didn't have to give them money, and I felt fortunate with that. But I had student loans, right? Like, I know a lot of pharmacists, they graduate, they didn't have student loans, and they had their parents give them money to buy a house, right? I know a guy where his parents gave him like a $2 million house, and he did nothing. He's just born rich, didn't do anything, but he's not the most ambitious person ever. So wherever you're starting from, just know that it's possible, and that's why I love um, being in America, right? Like, it's very, like, despite all the complaining, the hate about America, like, I went from zero to nothing just because I lived here, was born here, and took advantage of some opportunities of our amazing loans that we have where I can put 10% down. And I was able to get my education paid for, right? And then able to make money and able to, put 5-10% down on properties. That's crazy. You go anywhere else, I can't put down 5-10% on a house in Asia. It's like 50-60% down on a house in Asia, and your interest rate's variable, and it's probably high. Versus, I was buying houses 10% down, 30-year fixed, 3% interest rates. You only get that here. So that was the advantage that I was given being born here, and that fortunately I had the work ethic to have a high income W-2, right? Like, to become no one wants to be a pharmacist. Like, you ask any kid, do you want to be a pharmacist? No one's gonna say I want to be a pharmacist. I only did it because I thought that it was a good job to make money that was stable. That's it. I don't work for a big pharmaceutical company. I work for a hospital, right? If I worked for big pharma, maybe I was high up in a big pharma, maybe I'd make blood money. But like, I just work at a hospital. So didn't do anything special, right? I just worked the W-2, paid off my student debt, save up 10%, put 10% down, and didn't think I was gonna be a landlord, right? So I'm an accidental landlord, and my parents know nothing about real estate. I knew nothing about real estate. My family knows nothing about real estate. People tell me I was crazy when I was buying real estate. So people to this day still think I'm crazy buying real estate. Oh, it's too risky. It's gonna crash. I was told that every year from 2017 to today. And I own 52 units, and they own nothing, right? So like, just take action and buy it when it makes sense for you. It's that simple. It's that simple. So anyways, I just wanted to make this video to share that, like, yes, I seem advanced today, but I didn't start off that way. I started off knowing nothing. I just took action and would learn one step at a time, baby steps, one step at a time. And obviously I joined a mentorship program, which accelerated my journey, and that's why I'm big on a mentorship program. That's why I created mine. So if you're interested in my program and want one-on-one coaching, you want courses, you want mentorship, click on the link tree down below. From there, you could see my courses. If you have a question, you can send me an email from the link tree, And then I'm happy to give you a discount code. Let me know if you have any questions about the mentorship program. Otherwise, I also have a free newsletter that you can sign up for. Please sign up for that. Otherwise, let me know what questions you have. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully this inspires you to know that you can buy real estate, right? I get it. Today, interest rates are high. Home prices are expensive. But just remember, save 10% down. Live frugal. Increase your W-2, increase your income. Whether that's through business, W-2, that's it. Just follow that formula. Eventually, you'll get a house, right? And then homes aren't getting cheaper. They're getting more expensive. Because inflation is a feature, not a bug. Expect home prices to go up 3 to 5% every year. That's just how it's going to be in California, right? Like my house has went up in value. I did nothing. So buy when it makes sense for you and live frugally. That's it. Do that over time. You'll get there, right? You don't need to be 52 units like me. Maybe you get to 4 units, 5 units in your lifetime. That's good enough, right? Like if I just thought that 5 units in 30 years, when I'm 60, I'd own 5 free and clear properties and you'd be very, very wealthy, right? You own your primary free and clear and 4 of the properties free and clear. What else do you need? So anyways, thanks for listening. Hope to see you next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much.